already suggestions. We're obviously in the realm of conjecture and hypothesis at the moment. There are suggestions that Britain's worst ever air crash could possibly have been caused by explosion. Well, we're joined by Michael Yardley, who's an expert in terrorism and indeed in security. Good morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Mike.
Now, the factors that are relevant here. We've heard of no Mayday distress calls from the pilots.
Yes.
We've ruled out mid-air collisions. What, in your opinion, does that leave us with?
Well, I think once you have ruled out the possibility of a collision, that terrorism must be the first on the list. There are other possibilities. There's a structural possibility, structural failure, an engine failure. But on the latter one, the engine failure, this is a very tough aircraft. Engines go on them all the time. In fact, even with all the engines out, it can still glide for a considerable time. I think that a bomb by an outside agency is probably the first possibility. That isn't to say that's what happened, but it's the first thing statistically.
Do you find it significant in that context that there was a number of American military personnel on board?
I'm not necessarily the fact that there were military personnel on board, but I do think it's significant that this was a prestige target, if it was a target. Both Pan Am and TWA are precisely the airlines that Middle Eastern terrorists, for example, would be aiming at, particularly at this time of year, of course, as well.
Once again, we must emphasise that we're in the realm of guesswork and the realm of hypothesis, but there has been a story emerging in the night of one passenger who was on the flight from Frankfurt to Heathrow before it left for JFK, who we hope to be talking to very shortly, by the way, who said that she saw a highly agitated passenger who had to be checked and double-checked, a man of Middle Eastern origin carrying an American passport. Have you heard anything about this particular story?
Well, yes, I've been chasing up the details of that. I think, frankly, it really is too early to say anything about this. A lot of people are very nervous about flying, and I think really that one must wait until we hear what the young lady herself has to say on it. The only other thing which I think is important, and I say this now from my own background as a psychologist, which interests me, is we've seen so many of these disasters now, and Professor Rosser earlier was talking about dealing with the trauma of them for the people actually at the incident. But of course we're all traumatised by them, and I think it's important that people are aware that we've all got these feelings this morning with this particular incident, and we should all recognise them. I mean, it's a terrible, terrible tragedy.
Well, Michael Yardley, we'll rejoin you later on in Good Morning Britain. But what you're just saying is so true. We were watching earlier on in the morning, the early hours of the morning, pictures of an American mother who first heard that her 20-year-old daughter was on the ill-fated flight, Pan Am Flight 103, and the pictures are almost, frankly, too harrowing to watch.
And perhaps we should just update you on some emergency numbers that you can ring this morning. 041 204 0011 is the number to ring for Strathclyde Police, or the London number 01897 6333 if you want information about that crash. Right now, though, it's time to catch up on the weather forecast from Carol Dooley.
Thank you, Kathy. Hello, good morning to you. Well, what can I tell you about the weather? It's more or less as it has been over the past few days.